Well, yesterday the news came out of the league, which I guess was starting to look inevitable, even though we were trying to perhaps not go down that route. But the season has been suspended until further notice, really. I think we have Jamie and Ryan joining us just to perhaps explain what was said at that meeting and what that actually means for the Storm and the league as a whole. But Jamie, perhaps you could just fill us in.
Well, I mean, it's been on the cards for a while. I think we were all sort of optimistic we could get something out of it, but I think the realistic view is that with the current situation, it was not really appropriate and not going to happen. So the decision was made. I mean, I think if people saw the Planet Ice statement regarding senior ice hockey and Planet Ice and their teams, which were released last week, that made our mind up anyway. But obviously, out of respect for the league, we didn't put a statement out and stuff like that. So, because obviously we wanted to let the league announce what was going on first. So, it's disappointing from a club standpoint, from a business standpoint, but I think it's probably best all round if it's happened now. And you know, we've just got to look to the future, look for next season. There is mention of something in January, February, which again wouldn't be a league season, but it'd be some sort of elite ice hockey. We'd look at that. We'd be silly not to, but our main priority is our business, to make sure it's stable, to make sure it's financially stable. And you know, if that works for us, we'll look at it and make a decision on that. You know, we're not saying yes, we're not saying no at the minute. So, but we'll definitely be here in season 21-22. I know a lot of people have been asking that question, and I think we can both confirm that we'll be here, whether it's August, September, raring to go, really. So.
You guys took over the club a couple of years ago, and you've had that vision for the club as you're building year on year. Just, I mean, how much of a kick in the gut has this been, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, from where we were 3 years ago, and how much we've learned about the Storm and our fan base, and you know, everything with owning a club and running a club, and for this to happen, you know, this pandemic to happen, and kind of sets you probably further back than square one. You know, you kind of build up whatever reserves you have to fund and put back into the club, and she's pretty much all gone. So you just have to. You got to kind of reestablish and readjust, and you know, I think it's been tough. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, but at the same time, I think we're confident in the fact that we kind of got the cookbook now. You know, we've gone through those trials and tribulations. We know what works. We know what doesn't. We know the areas we need to improve on, both on and off the ice, and you know, I think we're both confident that we can get the club back there. We're going to need some support from our fan base, but we're confident that we can get back there in August and build a competitive team. And you know, we really like the group we had this year. We were planning on having, you know, a lot of them back, and again making some upgrades in areas that we felt we needed upgrades. But you know, we liked the squad and thought we had a good nucleus. But you know, this happened, and now we just got to kind of try to salvage as many of these players. We've been kind of trying to find guys jobs, and you know, try to make sure that they got some employment, and they're still playing next year, which hasn't been easy. It's been pretty difficult to do, but confident that the guys will find employment, whether it's this month or next month, or some may have to wait a little longer. But yeah, you know, it's just now for me, it's just kind of making phone calls and staying in touch with guys, and we've already kind of reached out to a few guys about 21, 22, and you know, express our interest that we'd like to get something done and get guys back on contracts. So we're ready to go.
We'll come back to perhaps looking forward in the future, but Jamie, you mentioned it there beforehand, and we put it out to the fans just to throw over their questions. Obviously, everybody's concerned about what's going on at the moment, and you reiterated it. There's been a lot of concern about, you know, what the future holds for the club. This isn't over. You are fully committed to going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think all 10 teams were pretty lucky that the pandemic hit in March. There were only 2 or 3 weeks left of the season. You know, every club's different. Every club's have different ways or different outgoings at different times and stuff. We were pretty lucky. We'd paid up a lot of our stuff, whether it's ice, time, rent, and everything like that. So, we are a smaller club than the others. We have got less costs than the others, less overheads than the others. So we were pretty lucky in that sense. We were unlucky because, again, most all the 10 teams lost out on revenue, which is, our main form of income is bums on seats, revenue. So we lost out on a couple of games on that. So, we sort of cut our cloth accordingly. And I have many discussions with Ryan about budgets and what we can afford and what we can't afford. And where sort of the last 3 years have been a trend where we've set as budget at a limit where we've always been able to add. We've never took away. We've always added. I think, especially the last 2 seasons with the injuries we've had, it's been, a case of we've had that in the pot where we can add and cover and cover. And it's no different from when the season ended. We had a little bit of reserve, what we could rely on, and has seen us through to this point. And like I say, we've not got that many overheads anyway because we're a smaller club. So the worries of the fans about how we're going to survive. Yes, we won't turn down help from fans. I think it'd be rude if we kicked it back in the face and said, no, we don't need your help. I think, they're part of this club, an important part of this club. Without them, we wouldn't be sat here now having this conversation. So, we're not going to turn that down. If they want to help us, that's great. We can go on to that, later on when, we've got a few initiatives. But as far as moving forward and where we're at, we're a pretty stable position. Like I said, we'll be here in August, September. No problems. It'll just be starting again, fresh, and doing what we've done for the last 3 years. Like Ryan says, we've sort of done it for nearly 3 seasons now. We've sort of got it off to sort of a T, but there's always improvement, isn't there? Whether it's on and off the ice, So yeah, that's just reiterating that we will be here, so there's no issues at all.
You mentioned there that perhaps you got lucky in the timing. It was just towards the end of the season, but then you flip it and trying to get things started again. Now, this could have been the worst case scenarios that we could have gone ahead, got the players in, got the contracts in, got the house in arranged, got the cars arranged, and then 3 weeks down into the season, we have the second wave and we have to shut down. That could have, that would have crippled the club and probably the league, I think. Is that fair to say, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that would have been the worst case scenario. I think that when you take away the safety of the players and the fans and everyone, the big concern is what if, and the what if is we bring everybody here, we organize, all the hard costs gets put out, and then we get down into a local lockdown or government lockdown nationwide. I think you would. I just don't know if teams, and it would be very tough to do that twice in a row. And I think it would probably it would put guys under. I think you'd see a lot of teams really struggle to come back from that.
Well, what's the difference here with the Elite League compared to, say, some leagues which are going in Europe? What's the big difference? I mean, I know it's the bums on seats is the criteria for us. Is it bigger sponsors, TV deals that they can run with?
Government backed. I mean, Scandinavia is government backed. So contracts are in Germany as well, I believe, are government backed. So I think in Norway, they'll play behind closed doors and government will replace the ticket money. If a second wave hits, the contracts are secured by the government. So a lot of these clubs financially themselves can't afford to go, but they got the backing from the government. That's why you're seeing it. It's not so much to do with, where the R rate is or the testing and how countries are doing individually with the pandemic. A lot of it just comes down to the government's backing them up so they can give it a go. Wow. If they get through the whole season, I think that'll be a different one. I think we may be the first league to shut down, but I don't think we're going to be the last one.
No.
Okay, as I say, we had lots of questions coming, so I apologise. I've gone through and I've tried to summarise best as I can. I'm not going to go through name to name. I just thank you for getting in contact. There was a real real inputs of questions, and you mentioned it there, Jamie, about just how supportful the fan base has been, and there's been a reaching about how the fans can help. With GoFundMe pages, putting their season tickets over to the following season. So you have a few ideas perhaps planned in the future, and I don't know if there's anything you can mention right now, Jamie.
Well, first of all, I mean, the fans have been helping us for the last 6 months since they started. We've been doing raffles, 50-50s, and then, it's been amazing that the response, and not from our own fans, but, different fans around the league have been buying tickets from different clubs. It's been amazing. They've all helped each other out. But specifically our fans, again, we're a small fan base, but we seem to all chip in, and it's all hands to the pump, and it's muchly appreciated. I've had a few emails since the news hit, and the first email I got were from 2 season ticket holders who said, look, we want to give you a donation so much, and it was just, sort of, oh, right, okay. And then another email came, and then a message came, and it was like, oh, okay. So, it's, like I said before, I mean, we are financially stable in a sense that we can get through this, but we're not going to turn down the help, because I think that's wrong. And the fans want to help, that's fine. We'll accept the help. There are a few things that we've spoke about, and initially a lot of people are saying, oh, can we make a donation? Can we do this? Can we do that? How we do it? So we're going to set up sort of some donation tabs on the Storm Sports Store in the next day or two, where they can just go on. If they want to make a donation, they can click an amount, and it just goes straight through. They pay for it. It's just like ordering a jersey or a jumper. There's just separate amounts. They can just tick whichever one they want. If they want to do multiple, if they might do £30, they might pick 10, 10, and 10 3 times. It's entirely up to them. Like I say, anybody who wants to donate and they've got in touch, by all means donate. Anybody who doesn't, it doesn't matter. They've shown the support in putting the bum on the seat last season, and I'm sure next season as well. So that's the initial one. I mean, obviously, we've had sponsors come back and donate shirts back, what they've got signed, and playing shirts, and we've raffled them off, and there's stuff like that. There's that much that probably fans can think of more than we can, really. And like I said, we urge them to get in touch with us, and we'll look at stuff. I think I saw Ryan with a little tweet about anybody who wants a golf day, stuff like that. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that.
I've just been playing a little bit lately, so I'm pretty confident.
Is anybody got like
I need to find some better competition.
Just perhaps, can you just say perhaps where those funds are going to go? One of the questions was, what are the running costs with the club? It's not really mothballed, but there are still employees. There still are overheads to cover.
Yeah, they're still running the club. Their overheads to cover their employees, but like I said, we are a small club, and we can cover them, and any help what comes in now makes us come back stronger next year. So makes us, our business is all front loaded. All our costs are front loaded. So from May to September, we collect season ticket money, we collect sponsorship money, we collect various other, initiatives what come in. But majority of that goes out before September on flights, visas, rental costs, housing, cars, it's equipment, it's all front loaded. So I get where people are saying, oh, can we pay for a season ticket now and then, defer it to next year? It is a good initiative when you do that. But with us being front loaded, it's easier for us as a business just to say, well, we'd rather pay May, and we know that we've got that money then over there, rather than something happen, we have to spend it before that, because we like we said, we've already budgeted before that. And that's it, really, because we rely on the bums on seats to run the business through the season. That's why we're always pushing for tickets and pushing the match night experience, and trying to get more people down to the shelter. And the more people that come in, we've always said, and Ryan said many a time, we'll reinvest it into the club. We'll reinvest into the club. So if people are investing now and donating now, that will be in the pot for the start of the season. And whether it's a bigger budget for Ryan, it will happen. That's what we do.
I think there's an interesting debate going on now with the teams that have taken season ticket money this year. I know when we spoke about it, I think we were always a little pessimistic that we would get going even 6 months ago. Jamie, way more so than myself. But I remember we spoke about it and we thought, well, it wouldn't, you kind of weigh it up and like we said, we just didn't feel right during what was going on and everything going on and furlough and job losses and you got to think of your fans and now you got the clubs that have the season ticket money. Obviously, Belfast are doing a great incentive to keep them. You got other clubs that are asking for the people to keep the money in, and I think it's an interesting dynamic now. And the one real negative is that for us is obviously we wouldn't use that money to survive. I guess we wouldn't use that money to survive to get us to next year. We'd rather just be find ways to generate new money while it's not putting that money away. But the big fear of that is that obviously they get the commitment from that season ticket base if they all hold it in there, which we have to find a way to make sure that we get all our season ticket holders back come next year, because what we don't want to see is a 25% drop, because obviously that has a huge impact on the budget and how we kind of start off until we can fill the gap. So I guess that's the way is that we decided we didn't want to put our fans out of money in a really hard time, and then potentially be hit with however many season ticket holders that you have to all refund. It's a lot of admin. So I think it was now we're kind of left when you're looking at other clubs is like, well, they got the money, okay, I get that. Now we just got to make sure that we do a good job during this off season here and build back up, that we get them all back plus more hopefully to come on.
It was one of the questions that come in. A lot of these questions, you kind of need your crystal ball to be able to see what's going to happen in another 12 months' time, 10 months' time. But, how do you think this is going to impact perhaps the calibre of player that's coming into the Storm and the league, and perhaps, less imports, more imports?
That's your area, not mine.
I think it's a tough one because, there's no certain, you're not guaranteed that North America is going to go. The American League or the East Coast League. I mean, you're looking at NHL teams sending a lot of their American League prospects over to Sweden. And they wouldn't be doing that if they were confident that their American League teams were going to go. So it's almost kind of like an NHL lockout year to a degree. A lot of guys just will miss a year, and we just have to be okay with that. I mean, we spoke about that last week. I think we spoke about that we should probably prepare for injuries, because if we do get a lot of our guys back and they haven't played, we may want to look at either a longer preseason or doing something where we can at least get these guys, try to get them as game fit and back up to fitness as quick as possible, but also as safely as possible. Because being off a year is a long time. Now it depends if you're 25 or 35, it takes a little toll on the body, but it's going to be interesting. Like you said, I don't think anybody really knows, but I honestly think there's going to be a lot of players that just will miss a year for various reasons.
Jamie, we have a very close working relationship with Planet Ice. Any concerns from that side of things? Because obviously they're going to they are struggling, especially in Manchester and Altrincham. They've been locked down a lot longer than other rinks around the country, and obviously the ticket revenue that the people that come through the door for Storm games aren't going to be there. Any concerns on that point of us having a venue to play in?
Not really. I mean, we've been in constant dialogue, myself and Ryan, with Heath and Mike Truson, who own Planet Ice, and they're very much keen on us, having us back, next season and this season. In fact, I mean, the way it's transpired, it's just that, they were supposed to open, then they weren't, then they were, then they weren't, then they were for about 3 hours, then they weren't, and then it was sort of a yo-yo emotions, I think, that they went through. But from speaking to the people that are in charge, they've budgeted for it, similar to any business, and that now they're sort of back, they've sort of to open a lot of things up, and again, Ryan can elaborate a bit more on that, because obviously he's going down there tonight and coaching and doing other stuff, so he's there more than I am. But from a level of the board level, where we speak to Heath and Mike Petruis, that they're very much budgeted for it, and they very much want us back in there. So I think the last 3 seasons, we've had a really good relationship with them. We've packed the shelter out, and if we pack that out, that means that they're making money as well as we are. So that's where we're at with them at the minute.
Well, a concern for your welfare, Ryan, asking what you're going to do with your time. And so Jamie mentioned it there. You're going to be heading off down to the rink now to go and work with the Storm Juniors and working on that golf handicap by the sounds of it.
Yeah. I got a honey-do list that's pretty long. So I think I'm gonna get involved in a bit of the junior stuff and help out during the week with predominantly the under-18s, the older ones, and then I might do some advisory work with some local clubs as well, just with the coaching and just enough to stay engaged and keep the brain active. And I just like I was saying, I don't think it's probably been 36 years where I would, maybe even longer, that I've not had a winter of hockey. I just can't imagine sitting around not all day and putting on the skates and so I plan to stay busy, and we got some really, really cool stuff with new sponsors coming on board that I've been getting involved with to hopefully when we do announce, to help the team out. That again, that's probably something that we'll hopefully announce next week, that we can do, and kind of getting involved with that a little, just to redirect and get some funds back into the club. And so it's been a bit of a unique transition. I kind of went half agent there, trying to phone. I think I phoned every coach around the world, trying to get jobs for guys on our team, and which is a terrible job. I don't know why anybody would want to be an agent, but phoning around, just trying to unlock some doors for the players and guys, see if we can get them. And it's just such a tough time with a lot of players looking for work right now. So it was more about timing than it is about skill right now. So a lot of jobs got eaten up 3-4 months ago before our guys really started to look around. So it's been, still trying to keep busy, and obviously, the Storm, we're not going to mothball. We're still going to stay active. And like I said, I am going to get a golf day going, because we haven't had one here in 3 years. And I've taken my handicap down about 6 strokes. So, and the guys I'm playing at are just terrible, so I need some new competition.
About the partnerships there, how does this affect the Salford Uni deal? I mean, I see that a tweet, I've spoken to Cam Critchlow as well. They're letting him finish off his degree or his masters from remote location. It must be difficult for those guys that are perhaps halfway through the schooling. I think, was Cam the only one? I think
Cam was on a 2-year, so. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously they've been hit hard, very hard, and if we would have played this year, I don't think we would have had any packages. We're in constant contact. We are hoping to join back up for 21-22, but again, it's a lot of it is how quickly they get back on their feet. I mean, the university got hit pretty hard and kind of just stopped all of that. Great of them to honor the 2nd year for Critch. That was a big concern of ours, and they were great, when we sat down and talked about it, allowing it, but majority of it online for international students, of course, now. So that's good. I mean, Critch can get that done, and he put a lot of work into it. So he'll get that done from Canada or from wherever it is he goes. And then and we hope to build it back up again. The 21-22. We hope that come February, March, this is just a distant memory, and we're all getting fired up for another season, which I think when it does come around, I think it'll be electric. I hope that first building or first game should be sold out. There's not too many times in history you look back where a pandemic completely wiped out a hockey season. Usually it's bad business that wipes out hockey teams, not a pandemic.
You mentioned it briefly earlier, and it was in the statement about the potential of trying to get something going early in the new year. And you said, we would listen to that. I mean, what has to be right for us to be able to do
that? I mean, obviously the obvious is fans in the building. We need fans in the building, because at the end of the day, bums on seats pays wages. Makes the club operate. If it's at a certain level, I think all clubs can, manage at a certain level. They all know that what their bottom line is. I think that's the key. But I think again, just
sorry,
going
Jamie.
back,
What's our magic number for having people in the arena? Do we need it pretty much full? Could we do it with social distancing,
as
50%?
many as possible. That's what I'm going to say. As many as possible.
6,000.
We're going to put another tier on it if we can.
Yeah.
No, just as many as possible. I mean, we have got a budget. We know what we're going to work with. We have hit that over the last 2 or 3 years. But we're always keen to get more. We're always pushing, match nights. And, there's these trends in bums on seats as well. Before Christmas tends to be, okay. After Christmas tends to pick up. And by the end of the season, we've got sellouts and 18, 1900 in the building for 2 or 3 weeks in a row. So, but going back to your question with regards to what has to happen, I think, we need to be securing that this virus is under control. We need to know that people can fly in the country without quarantine. We need to know to be honest, there's hopefully an antidote or a vaccine available as well, because these are all the factors that haven't been mentioned in the press release. It was more to do with, bums on seats and stuff, but there is a list as long as your arm of things that Ryan touched on, like, could go wrong, and and it's just a massive risk. We have to take the risk factor out before we even contemplate on saying yes or no. So, that's the answer really.
With these rinks being closed and the lack of ice time that's been, and you mentioned about you kind of do a bit of coaching with the under-18s around, what sort of impact do you think this could have on future generations, this year that we've almost lost ice time?
Well, I mean, it's going to be tough, obviously, depending on where you're at. I know in North America, they've been skating for a long time. They've been back on the ice, as opposed to here. So I guess it's different country to country. But, I think it'll be all relative. As long as we can stay on the ice and buildings stay open and avoid a second lockdown, I think players will catch up. I think it's important that we get involved. So, guys in the elite league, if they can get involved and help out a little bit too. The coaches in the academies and their local cities, if they can. And yeah, I think it's like anything. I mean, it's just what do you say? I mean, it's the global pandemic wiped the whole season out. So I think a lot of guys are just got to get back on the ice. I think right now, just getting back on the ice, having some fun, and then hopefully the kids can get some games in, or local games, or whatever it works out to be. But yeah, and then obviously for the pro guys, that are not playing in the NHL right now, it's just about staying active and staying busy. Even if you're not playing, they got to find ice time, and whether it's practicing with university teams back home or what, they got to find a way to stay active. It's a long drought to try to come off of, especially if you look at a guy like Ginner and goalies. There are a lot of routines, and so they got to find ice time, but it's doable. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of guys in the league next year that won't have played since March of 2020.
No, it's important to stay positive, and what we did, especially in the early days, we announced a couple of the signings that you made. There were a few others that we I think you probably put the brakes on as things started to unravel a little bit, and the season was looking less and less likely. But a few people have asked if any very early, but anybody looking to come back for when we do get things up and running.
Yeah, I mean, I've just had a couple initial talks with a few guys. Obviously, the guys we had signed, and like I said, everybody's geared up, wants to come back for 21, 22. I think a lot of them are probably looking at that season right now than they are even in the immediate one. Well, if they're waiting for the coast or waiting in North America or to open up. So I think we'd like to get some contracts done. Obviously, for budget reasons, it helps to get your guys back and then work off that as opposed to kind of going fishing late next year. So like I said, we really like the group we had. We like the nucleus. We want to get guys back and under contract. And if that means that we got half a team or three-quarters of a team that are playing that didn't play last year, then I'm not worried about it. That's just, it is what it is. These guys will be back up and running. I've seen it happen before where guys finish seasons and they're fresh.
I mean, worst case scenario, I guess we're looking at maybe 12 months. Well, not quite, but it must be important, Jamie, for the club to stay current and in sight, in mind, and trying to maintain a presence. How that might be, I don't know at the moment, but any plans ahead?
I think Ryan touched on it earlier that, we're not going to mothball. We're going to be active, whether it's on social media, whether it's, doing golf days, whether it's making signings. I think there's a lot of stuff, it gives you a lot of time to think now, sort of, we're not having to rush through ITCs and visas and chase players and send contracts late at night. It gives you a lot of time to think and plan a marketing strategy and how we can roll it out. And I think it's just keeping fans interested in the club, what's going on. I think I did see a mention about, on one of the questions, about a newsletter, which, we have spoke about before, but, I think is a really good idea. And, we'll maybe look at that throughout the next couple of months and start issuing newsletters. But I think just keeping fans up to date, whether it's doing one of these every month or whether, it's just keeping them interested and keeping them up to date. Like I said, we've got a lot of initiatives going to come out, whether it's the donations, whether it's shirt raffles, whether it's golf days, whether it's, I think we're still due an equipment sale, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's also important too that, like, nobody really has a plan to how to navigate through one of these. So it's important that our fans kind of voice if they think they got some good ideas. They got to throw it our way too, especially ideas that can generate some much needed funds for the club. And I think it'll be good fan engagement. So if you're sitting back and wondering if you've got a good idea or not, we definitely want to hear about it, because, like I said, this is pretty new for everyone. So it definitely want to keep engaged with them. And if they come up with some cool and innovative ways that we can have some fun and make a little bit of money, then we definitely want to be doing that. Like a golf day.
We got the message, right? We got the message. Anybody know any?
I'm actually waiting for some people to be like, "Hey, you want me to come volunteer and I'll help push it for you?" I'm like, "Yes." I need 3 people. Because if it's me, it will never happen.
But Jamie, do you feel like this is almost a bit of a do-over? I mean, it must be fresh in the memory from you walking through the door with the Storm on the first day and you took over. You kind of feel like you can maybe use this as a positive to build for, maybe correct some of the things that didn't quite go well, do things a little bit better again?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're always trying to, tweak things and make things better. I mean, if anything, it'll probably be exactly like when we first walked through the door, because we'll have been 12 months not even going anywhere near it, or myself will. I'll probably pop over, but it'll be just like starting again, because we'll be starting from scratch with everything. Whereas, like I said before, normally we'd roll from April, we'd roll houses, cars over to the following season, and players over, and we've had to just clean the decks and get rid of everything and have 2 containers of furniture just sat there doing nothing. So it's very much going to be start afresh. But I think, to take a positive out on it, I think it'll be good to recharge the batteries, engage with the fans, come up with some new ideas, maybe, sit back and relax and push forward to a really good 21-22 season and see what we can achieve there. Hopefully it'll be like his first season when we take over. You never know.
Brian, you got anything to add there?
Yeah, no, I think at this point, I mean, there's a lot of doom and gloom right now in the world that I think we're just trying to flip this. We can't sit here and pout about it and kick rocks for too long. We got to kind of get up and move forward and like I said, start inching our way to that new season, whenever it is, and just hope that we can get back to normality and that everybody's kind of gets back to work and our fans keep jobs and their lives are unaffected. And because I think, like I said, we're kind of been around now for 3 years. We know a lot of our fan base. We know them personally. We have a close connection with a lot of them, and so we definitely are concerned about them as much as they're concerned about us, and we just want to make sure we get through this as quick, as safely as possible, and get back to getting to the shelter and having a good time.
Thanks very much, folks. I guess it's just a case of just everybody reminding that we are still here, we're still going, and as you said there, Ryan, you got any ideas, throw them over. Anybody who knows a club captain at a golf course that can give us some decent rates for a golf day, then get in contact with Ryan's PA, I guess.
I need a PA first. I need a couple PAs. That's what I need.
Well, the GoFundMe account for Ryan's PA will be set up shortly after we sorted out the one for the Manchester Storm.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you, guys.